Well, it has been about 40 seconds since the start of the show. In that time, at least one person in the United States has had a stroke, and it will happen again and again with every tick of the clock. Since May is Stroke Awareness Month, it makes sense to talk about the signs, the symptoms, and of course prevention. So for that, we are turning to Dr. Blase Hennessy with Mount Carmel Health Systems in this sponsored segment. Good to meet you, Doctor. All right, so let's start with the basics. Explain to us, what is a stroke? What is causing it when that's happening?
Hey, well, thanks for having me, Robin,
Yeah.
and happy to talk about strokes with you here on Stroke Awareness Month. When we think about stroke, we're really looking at a decrease or interruption of blood supply to part of the brain. Now, this can happen with a narrowing or a blockage of a blood vessel, or with leaking or bursting of a blood vessel to the brain. Usually happens sudden onset, and so when a stroke happens, like you mentioned, time is of the essence to get evaluated and treated.
And you've got to be able to recognize those symptoms. I know a lot of times they have acronyms, things that make it easier for folks to remember. And in this case, Be Fast is that acronym. Can you walk us through what are some of the things people will see and notice?
Absolutely, and a lot of your viewers might have heard the Be Fast acronym before. It's a great way to start off in thinking about the very broad categories of stroke. So for B, we have balance issues, difficulty walking, difficulty moving around, difficulty standing up straight. E, we look to our eyes. We have difficulty with eyesight, loss of vision in one or both of your eyes, blurred or double vision. F, we look at a facial droop. This can even be numbness, tingling of the face, difficulty making a smile, difficulty even sticking your tongue out straight.
Yeah.
A, we look at arm weakness, usually one side or the other. S, we look at speech difficulties. This can be difficulty making our words, difficulty even understanding words. If you hear a friend or relative with garbled or slurred speech, that can be a sign or symptom. And T, we look at time. In other words, time to get to the emergency room.
Yeah, and obviously we talked about that being really the most important thing, is that you get help quickly. We want to make note, is there a difference between the symptoms when it comes to men and women? Are the same things happening to both genders?
Well, yes and no. Whereas women can have those same categories and same symptoms that we've mentioned above, women are more likely to have more generalized symptoms, such as a generalized fatigue or a generalized mental slowing. Women can also have very different symptoms as well. We've had reports of hiccups, chest palpitations, nausea, shortness of breath. A lot of different signs and symptoms can present in women.
Okay. Yeah, and I want to, go into the time aspect of this. How much of a difference? Is it a dramatic difference? Have you seen when somebody comes in, minutes after they're experiencing these symptoms versus hours, versus I'm going to wait and see if this goes away, right? A lot of times we do that. We hesitate. What is the difference when treatment's concerned?
Well, when it comes to stroke, time equals brain. And when we look at the difference between minutes, hours, and even folks waiting a day or more with these symptoms, it really changes the different treatments that you have available to you and how well you can recover. We always recommend people, if you're experiencing these signs or symptoms, call 911. Don't wait to see if it gets better. Don't drive yourself to the emergency room. Really calling the ambulance helps get you to the hospital fast, evaluated quickly, and really increases your chance to be able to recover well from having a stroke.
And are there any ways we can prevent a stroke, or even the conditions that may lead us to a stroke? Prevention, obviously something that people would love to be able to do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And so when we look at stroke prevention, keeping a good diet, exercise, not smoking, keeping your cholesterol levels low, regular follow-ups with your primary care physician, these are all things that can prevent from having a stroke. A lot of times when we look at the same things that make our hearts healthy, also helps keep our brains healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I could understand that. Yeah, and when it comes to getting the care you're talking about, obviously calling 911, going to get an ambulance to you, but knowing that Mount Carmel now has even a new center, there are a lot of places, right, that people can go to get that help. So kind of tell us about Mount Carmel and the health system that you're a part of.
Oh, absolutely. Mount Carmel has 9 emergency rooms in the central Ohio area. You mentioned we just opened Mount Carmel Dublin.
Yeah.
It's now open and ready for business. I personally am working out there as well as Mount Carmel St. Anne's. All 9 of our emergency rooms are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, really able to provide that comprehensive care for all of you in the central Ohio area.
All right, good to know. So don't hesitate, though. If any of those symptoms, even if you are, just concerned about one of those symptoms, right? It doesn't have to be a slew of all of them in order to go seek help and see what's happening to you. MountCarmelHealth.com, a great resource for that and more. So Dr. Hennessy, thank you.
Robin, thank you.